Hi Summoners, today we're going to talk about Boots Enchantments. They are essential items that enhance the capabilities of your champion. These enchantments can provide a significant upgrade to different things like your movement speed, combat potential, or even add unique effects that alter the flow of a game. Understanding which Boots enchantment to select based on your champion's role and the situation at hand can be the difference between winning and losing a fight. Also, note that you can only get one enchantment per game, and up until this patch, you can start purchasing one once the game hits the 6-minute mark, and you've upgraded your T2 boots. Just a heads up, we're only going to talk about their functions and when you can consider getting one, but we're not going to discuss here when is the best time to get them in game. Personally, I get my Boots enchantment once I have my first 2 or 3 item upgrades, but again, it's still very subjective on when is the best time to get it. Let's start! There are 13 enchantments in the game that you can buy and use for any champions. But just remember that there are certain enchantments that suits best for certain champions. Also, note that you can lower down the cooldown of these enchantments if you use the Ingenious Hunter rune. Stasis. This enchantment makes you invulnerable and untargetable for 2.5 seconds, but in the expense of not being able to do anything. Carries often use Stasis, but it's mostly good for all roles. I would say this enchantment is for all around, as anyone can benefit this if you think the enemy team thinks you're the key or core of a team fight. This is a favorite item of ADC carries as it can save you from unseen dives from assassins like Rengar, Master Yi, Talon, Katarina, given that you can time it well. Stasis can be a big counter to negate some skills or ultimates as well with the likes of Zed, Fizz, Garen, and more. There can be a time where you'll need this as a support, like if you're playing Soraka and you want a backup to save yourself just in case somebody tries to pick you off from the opposing team. It has a cooldown of 120 seconds. To sum it up, you decide if Stasis will be a good use for a specific game or matchup that you are in. Locket. This enchantment is often picked up by champions who need to provide team support through protection and shields. This is commonly used by a tank or enchanter support to help their team survive most damages, especially from burst damage champions. This has a 60-second cooldown. Glorious. This enchant is like a cheap version of Ghost Spell as it gives you burst of move speed, and it emits a shockwave that slows nearby enemies upon reaching them. Mostly bruisers or tanks are the ones that use this to initiate fights. One good example who benefits this the most is Olaf. This has a 45 seconds cooldown. Protobelt gives you an ability to dash forward with a little bit of damage on the missiles released. This is a pretty straightforward enchant, and most people use this as a gap closer when they play assassin champions like Echo, Talon, and more. It has a 60 seconds cooldown. Quicksilver is an enchant that removes almost all crowd control effects, plus gives you immunity to it for 0.75 seconds. It also has a passive effect where it reduces the crowd control effectiveness by 25%. This can't be used during knockup or knockback effects. ADC carries are the ones mostly use this, as 1 second stun can result to a death. It has a 60 seconds cooldown.
Only fools.
Stoneplate is an enchant that gives you shield. This enchant gives way better shield, but this is only affects you and no one else. This is a must-have for frontliners. It has a 60 seconds cooldown.
Enemy slain.
Teleport. Another straightforward enchant where it teleports your champion to an allied champion, structure, or ward. This is very useful for split pushing, and if you want to surprise the enemy team if you decide to join team fights from one corner to another in the map. It has 180 seconds cooldown.
Enemy slain.
Repulsor. This gives you an ability to knock back nearby enemies and gives you 30% move speed. One of the most underrated enchant that I can think of. This can save you a lot from assassins like Katarina, as it can interrupt her ultimate as well. It can also stop Samira's ult. Think of this like Graga's body slam skill. It has a 60 seconds cooldown. Magnetron Enchantment lets you dash behind a minion, monster, or allied champion. Think of this enchant like Braum's W skill without the bonus armor stat. Some people use this to thresh to add creativity and surprise people when they use the hook skill. It has 50-second cooldown. Veil Enchantment. This gives a spell shield to a nearby ally for 3 seconds that blocks the next ability. One of the enchantments that you can consider when playing an enchanter support like Lulu or Yuumi to disrupt the combo of a skill-based champion. It has 45 seconds cooldown. Meteor lets you lights up an area and summons a meteor after 2.5 seconds. This deals a lot of damage and can be a clutch enchantment to steal an objective like dragons or Baron. This can also be a good combo for Jarvan or Camille. It has 90 seconds cooldown. Ravenous Hydra. This lets you deal adaptive damage to nearby enemies and restore health by 60% of the damage dealt. Some players use this to Fiora, Camille, and other melee champions that has auto attack resets. It has 10 seconds cooldown. Dreammaker makes you gain blue dream bubble and a purple dream bubble every 8 seconds. You'll grant an ally these bubbles if you heal or shield them. Personally, it's a must-have for enchanter supports like Soraka or Janna, if you don't prefer to use other support enchantments like Veil or Locket.
You are on a killing spree.